G'day everyone, welcome back to another video. So today, thanks to H&S Firearms and SJS Trading, I'm doing a pros and cons video on the Element Nexus 5-20x50. So I've been using this rifle and scope for the last few weeks and basically just sort of getting a feel for it. I've jotted down a pros and cons list on my phone. We're just going to run that through today. This isn't a review, this isn't a recommendation to go out and buy it or anything, because I've got to be careful with the YouTube, the new standards and all that stuff that they're doing now. So the gun and scopes all being used in private shooting ranges and private property, things like that. And I'm not going to have the gun in my hands for this talk because otherwise the video will get demonetized, which is a bit of a shame, but it's just the way it is. So anyway, I'm going to go through this list here, and I'll try not to glance at my phone too much to sort of jog my memory. We'll run you through the pros and cons. So this is going to be on the Element Nexus 5-20x50. Japanese made scope. First pro I've got on here is glass quality. Glass quality is absolutely brilliant. Very good in low light for 50mm front objective. Really nice glass. Edge to edge clarity, sharpness. Just looks really good. Next pro, it's sub 800 grams. I think it's about 795 grams. So for a scope like that with external turrets and everything like that, it's more designed for a longer range application. To be in that weight, you can still use it for hunting as well, which I think is a big pro. The build quality, everything is super nice, super smooth. Everything turns and works, and it seems to be well thought out and it seems to be well made. It's got a really positive zero stop, very handy out in the field. If you're dialing for your shots, you want to be able to just crank that turret back down, hit your zero stop. So it's got a zero stop there, another big pro. So the reticle in the scope that I had provided was the APR-1C MRAD. Really clean design. Really nice floating center dot that was very small, very precise. Really enjoyed that reticle. It's got 10-stop illumination with stops in between. So 1 stop, 2 stop. Very, very good. Like small, light. It's right on the side of the parallax adjustment. Super easy to turn on. The brightness went really low, which was great for sort of those lower light situations. If you're going to be hunting in low light, you can get a really dim picture on it where you can't even see it or tell that it's on in daylight hours. You'll only sort of see it in low light conditions. So really good illumination setup, very easy to use and stiff, so it's not going to accidentally turn on or anything like that. The parallax goes 10 yards to infinity, so getting that parallax down to 10 yards means if you're doing sort of 22 or the air rifle competitions or anything like that where you're shooting in close, or hunting situation as well, you can crank that parallax, that focus right down to 10 yards. And if you're in the bush stalking or if you're going in to potentially make a follow-up shot or whatever like that, you do have that real close focus ability, which I really like. It's got a large, easy to turn zoom ring. It's sort of stiff, but it's not too stiff. So it's not going to just creep on you and move around on zoom changes or anything like that. It's, it's quite firm, but it feels quality. It's still smooth at the same time. Speaking about that zoom ring, a throw lever is provided in the box, and that throw lever is really nice. You can't move it in different positions, but the position where it is, super easy to get your thumb underneath there, crank it either way. It worked out well. The windage turret markings go 1 left, 1 right, 2 left, 2 right, etc. So they're marked the right way. Most scopes do that now, but some scopes still do a full, revolution, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way to whatever number it is. So it's good to see that they've got it basically set up that you can go either way and you're not going to get lost of where you're at. I didn't do any specific tracking tests or holding zero tests, but in the time I had it, it seemed to track very well and it seemed to always return back to zero. I never had an issue. Shot it at 505 meters, which I think I've got footage of. Bang on, took it out hunting, shot a couple of deer, and that's that. So I will not complain. Finally, on the pros list, the flip up caps are provided. So you got a front and rear flip up cap to protect your glass. The front rear objective, pretty damn good quality. They're spring loaded, so they'll flip straight back up. They're easy to put back down. That's the pros out of the way. Now on to the cons. So the very first con is the no capped windage. For me, that's a big letdown. I'm not sure why they wouldn't provide a cap for the windage turret. It just doesn't make sense to me. The windage turret's also a little bit soft. So it wouldn't surprise me if you had that gun on your sling and you didn't check your windage every shot. That turret could move. That's a letdown for me. For a lot of people, it's not going to be the end of the world. And if you're dialing all your shots and taking into account your windage and dialing wind, this is not going to matter to you. But for me, that was a con and something worth mentioning. Second con is the 5 power minimum base mag. Now, some people it's going to be fine having 5 power minimum. For the most part, most people probably have a scope that only goes down to 5 power. But for me, that's probably a little bit high in terms of sort of versatility in a hunting situation. I prefer it a little bit lower than 5 power, but all in all, it's not really the end of the world. It's not a huge deal or a deal breaker or anything like that, but just something I thought worth mentioning. So the final con I've got on the list is not a deal breaker by any means. I was kind of just struggling to find cons about the scope because I did really like it, and that's the internal adjustment range. So it's got 80 minutes or 23 mils of adjustment for your elevation. To some people that will not be enough. For probably 99% of the people out there, it's going to be fine, but it's just something I thought I would mention because, like I said, it was pretty hard finding cons about this scope. It's a really nice, clean, lightweight, perfect for your sort of lightweight, long-range setups. If you're doing a build, could be a scope worth looking at. Probably not the sort of scope I'd recommend for, bush stalking, but if you're doing sit on the side of the hill glassing, and you've got a sort of lighter weight, long range rifle, probably a scope worth thinking about. Anyway, I hope that's helped some people out. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you've got any comments or anything, questions, just chuck them down below. Thanks again to SJS Trading and H&S Firearms for making this review possible.